let's talk about some other very, very important impact factors here. These are diet and lifestyle things that you want to take into consideration because they can definitely impact your overall hormone layers, if you will, and especially women. Some of the things that help to destroy or to disrupt, we'll call it hormone disruption, your estrogen, your progesterone, predominantly your estrogen, are exposure to pesticides, drinking or eating out of plastics. If you remember all the scare with the BPA, the bisphenol A, it's in plastics, and it's a hormone disruptor. That's one of the things it contributes to increased risk of cancer, and that's why everybody's making plastic now that's BPA free. Understand that there are other BPs, there are other phenyl groups in plastic beyond BPA that are still dangerous. So don't just go buy BPA free plastic. Drink out of stainless steel or drink out of glass and avoid the plastics. But cosmetics contain pseudoestrogens. So we got pesticides, plastics, and cosmetics that all are artificial sources of estrogen that can create an estrogen dominance scenario, which can increase your risk for heart disease and certain types of cancers. So that's one way we can get imbalance. And of course, this is an easy fix, right? We can avoid pesticides by buying organic. We can avoid plastics by not eating off of them or out of them or drinking out of them. And certainly with cosmetics, you can buy more health-conscious cosmetics that don't contain a number of the same chemicals. Now, a lot of people, and there's some famous doctors that made a great name for themselves by writing books on hormone resetting. And one of the pieces of advice that they give is to cut out dairy and to cut out meat. Well, let's dissect a little bit why that advice is being given. If you cut out meat, and you cut out dairy, what you're actually cutting out are some of the hormones that are used in these products. So these hormones, again, if you cut these two things out, well, you won't be getting those hormones that will lead to that estrogen dominance type of scenario. So again, I don't wholly agree with cutting out meat unless you have a genetic factor that where vegetarianism serves you better, and some of you do and some of you don't. And if you don't, it's not a good idea. But what I do recommend is not buying the big feedlot beef where the cows are being penned and they're being fed genetically modified grain loaded with pesticides, not healthy for the animal. So we can alter that by buying grass-fed beef and free-range organic types of meats where that's not happening, where there's more responsible farming and better care taken of the animals so that we don't actually end up with the metabolic waste products of the excess hormones and the excess pesticides that's going to come in those industrialized versions of those products. So you can buy better versions. You'll pay more for it, but it's worth doing because if it creates a lack of problems here with your overall hormones, that's going to be a better scenario for you. Now, I want to talk about some of the other things involved within this pathway as well, because to get from cholesterol to progesterone, that requires certain nutrients, and this is very, very rarely talked about, but one of the nutrients necessary to get from cholesterol to progesterone is vitamin B5. You absolutely need vitamin C to be able to do that. You need magnesium to be able to do that. And so again, the reason I'm pointing these things out is because a lot of doctors will say, here's progesterone, but they won't measure B5, vitamin C, or magnesium or other nutrients that are necessary for you to convert cholesterol into progesterone. And to me, this is the most logical first step, is to look at gut function. If you're malabsorbing or maldigesting, or you've got IBS or other gut problems where you're not getting these nutrients in your diet, or if you eat a highly processed food diet where you're not getting enough of these things, then that can lead to disruption. So this is easy. This is an easy factor. This is a diet change, right? We can do diet and lifestyle very, very simply without having to go to heavy-hitting medication. Again, the whole premise, the whole point is that your body knows how to work. If you take away the things that are interfering or that are not allowing it to do its job, then you can get your body to do what it's supposed to do. So again, these nutrients play a major role. And as far as testosterone formation, one of the big ones that's oftentimes not discussed in men is zinc. You cannot make testosterone without zinc. It's a near impossibility. So zinc deficiency is very, very common in men, and there are several reasons why. One, many men who are taking testosterone medications are also on blood pressure medications, and I want you to understand that a lot of your blood pressure medications actually block zinc. They actually cause zinc deficiency. So you know what a scenario that is very, very common is man gets man eating a highly processed diet, going to work 8 hours, sitting at a desk, not exercising, the blood pressure goes up, the doctor puts him on blood pressure medication, that causes a zinc deficiency over time, lowers testosterone because you can't make testosterone without zinc, and now he's being put on a testosterone medication as well without ever having the zinc levels checked, without ever having a conversation about diet, lifestyle, without having a conversation about the importance of exercise. So all that's important. Now with estrogen metabolism, one of the main nutrients you need for estrogen metabolism, you need magnesium, but you also need the methylators, the B12, you need the folate, you need the B6. All these are very, very important nutrients to help your body properly metabolize estrogen. Remember, when we say estrogen, estrogen is not one hormone. It's a family of hormones. There's E1, which is estrone. There's estradiol. There's estriol. And then you have different versions even downstream of those. And so some of those increase the risk for cancer, and some of them are a healthier form of metabolite. But all of them require these nutrients along that pathway for metabolic processing. These things here, again, the plastics, the pesticides, the cosmetics, interfere with the way that your body can metabolize that estrogen. So again, this is an easy change. Get these things out of your diet, get these things out of your lifestyle. There's a reason why we see record numbers of hormone abnormalities today. It's in a large part, it's because we have so many new chemicals that we're being exposed to. I think it was the FDA, the commissioner of the FDA, this was years ago, said that the number of chemicals being introduced to humans far outweighs our ability to scientifically study them for safety. And I think and that was almost 20 years ago. And I think at that point it was close to 30,000 different chemicals. And so, again, the more you can protect yourself, the more you can minimize your exposure to these types of chemicals, the better off you're going to be at reducing your risk of developing some type of hormonal imbalance. Hey, and if you missed the earlier part of this series, click right here so you can go back and get caught up. The information there might be critical to helping you on your path to better health. And as always, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe for updates below. Have a great day.